What can we do with what we have in the place where we have been called to serve?
A way of seeing possibilities out of what is.
When we see a need, we try to reach that need.
We're celebrating 40 years of a wonderful, very, very proud history of Metro Lutheran Ministry in Kansas City, serving the poor and homeless with resources, with hope, with compassion and dignity. And we have so many thousands of people that have contributed along the way. And it all began with some really special leaders in our community with vision, with courage. They took risks. They didn't give up. They brought things together. They brought different people with different opinions together, and this is where we are 40 years later because of them.
Well, the early discussions centered around, I think, how Lutheran congregations in our community could be involved.
The main point was for congregations to find a way to work together, congregations to cooperate and have a sense that they were all together in one ministry.
I was there in the beginning, served on the development committee.
They had some wonderful visionary people who were working on this pan-Lutheran organization that was wanting to come into being.
I'd say it was a very adventuresome group of people with a vision that was really unique.
How could our congregations be of assistance in the inner core of the city, in the urban core of Kansas City?
When MLM started, it was right in the middle of the civil rights movement, really, and our eyes were open to the to racism and the social divisions that and the lack of human rights that various portions of our citizens were denied.
MLM was not a surrogate organization. It wasn't, you send us your dough and we'll do your work, Metropolitan Lutheran Ministry. It was the church doing its ministry outside the comfortable environs of the more suburban settings or more isolated settings.
Pastor Luther Johnson was called to be the executive director, and he had a vision of the congregations developing a sense of community, a community that transcends race and religion and parts of town and economic situation, and that people would realize that we really are part of not just one city or one metropolitan area, but that we are part of a community of caring and relationship.
And I would give a lot of credit to Lloyd Dykeman, because I knew what kind of a leader he would be for Metropolitan Lutheran Ministry, and certainly over the many years that he served so well in providing leadership for the Metropolitan Lutheran Ministry. It's one of the great joys of my life to see how well the volunteer and lay leadership has worked with MLM.
I think we had a lot of good people, and have all the time, very conscious of the poverty in Kansas City. And I think we've helped an awful lot of people.
After 40 years, MLM is in 4 locations in Kansas City. One of them is our Northland office, and Jeannie Wells has worked with MLM as a staff member for 25 years. And in the St. James Northland office, she works so actively every day to help people have their needs met with food, rent and utility assistance, and she's also so active in her community. She is an advocate for the homeless. She also goes out into the community and teaches, and sometimes she is with children in schools and tries to bring awareness to the unmet needs of homeless people and what it's like for them.
I can go out to the community and I can go to schools and tell the little school children, this is how it feels to be homeless. And I say, people live in these. They live in cars and they live in this cardboard box. And they even can come up and get in the cardboard box and see if they can get comfortable. Metro Lutheran Ministry has let me teach those children about homelessness. So when the kids grow up, they're going to see it. They're going to see it. They're going to say, "Oh, under that bridge, there's a homeless guy. Let me see if I can take him a blanket or something and remember us."
MLM is trying very hard to make sure that as we pass the torch to our next generation, that we are giving opportunities to young people now to experience loving and giving and serving early in their lives. We try very hard to make our ministry available to teach it to young people and let youth and their parents experience it together. The whole goal is to love and serve and help, and they do it by the money they raise or by the food they give away. We're very intent on wanting to pass that along generation after generation. You know, the future, sadly, for MLM appears to hold plenty of need for our services. And I say that sadly because the poverty rate is, if anything, it's in the last 3 to 5 years, it's grown and grown. Shows no signs of abating anytime soon. So our challenge is to use the resources we have and the resources we can appeal and gather from our community to apply them to the greatest needs and the people that are hurting the most. So that's our challenge. It's one that we don't get discouraged, we don't get cynical, we don't give up, but we try very hard to work even harder and more strategic in sharing those resources with people that really, really need them. And we're going to do that until there is no need. And realistically, we know that's not going to happen anytime soon. So we rejoice in the privilege of continuing to serve, and we plan on doing it better and better.